British billionaire Richard Branson will take his company, Virgin Galactic, public by year's end. The company will list its shares as part of a merger with social capital Sophia Holdings Corporation, a special purpose acquisition company.
Now, the deal will make Virgin Galactic the first publicly traded space tourism company. Well, for more, we are joined by futurist and chairman of Advanced Human Technologies Group, Ross Dawson, who joins us in the studio. And this, of course, they're listing earlier than expected. We're presuming this is to help raise funds against rivals like Blue Origin and SpaceX.
Well, they didn't announce any plans to go public before, so they originally had lined up $1 billion of capital for Virgin Group, quite a bit, which have gone to the Virgin Galactic business. And Richard Branson turned down the investment from Saudi Arabia in the wake of the Jamal Khashoggi killing. So this was an opportunity to raise money. So they've raised around $800 million US. And to be able to accelerate getting to market, be the first one to have a scalable space tourism business, which they believe can be a highly profitable business. So
is it premature to be doing this, given that they haven't actually sent any paid tourists into space as yet?
Well, this is a capital-intensive business, so you need to raise some capital to be able to get there. They are saying that they will be kicking off next year. They already have 600 people, or more than 600 people, who have laid down $250,000 each, which, and then there's more they need to top up to be able to pay. And for the first year or more, they will actually be using their existing customers. And they have a forecast that by 2023, they will have basically an earnings of the price will be around 5 times their earnings. So they are believing that they can quite rapidly ramp up the space tourism business.
It's very interesting you said millionaires. You know, we are talking about millionaires that are going to space. It seems that this is the realm only for the rich and famous. Is that the case? Or, you know, if you compare it to the aviation industry, in the beginning it was all about people with money who were able to travel on planes, and then that slowly became more acceptable for other people to be able to join in the trips. Do you see that happening as well with space tourism, or will it just be for the realm of the rich and famous?
It depends on the time frame. So certainly we're looking at $250,000 plus to be able to fly into space very briefly. It's just a 90-minute flight on Virgin Galactic. However, Richard Branson says he believes in a decade to become far cheaper. And where this could go is to be able to go for point-to-point travel. For example, Sydney to New York or Sydney to London in literally an hour. And that's where, of course, you're getting the scale where the prices will come down. That's only viable at a lower price, but that's something where certainly people would be prepared to have 23 hours less on a plane and prepared to pay a reasonable amount for that.
How closely will Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos be watching this float, and will other space tourism companies go public?
Unlikely to go public. So the 3 major players are, of course, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, Elon Musk's SpaceX, and Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic. So in fact, SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, seems to be valued around $33 billion, so around 20 times that of Virgin Galactic. But it has a far broader remit, far bolder ambitions to be able to colonize Mars and to be able, and then having a lot of commercial payloads as well. So they're all competing for space tourism as a key business, but there are businesses beyond that. In the case certainly of SpaceX and Blue Origin, they are looking to populate the solar system, including the moon, and getting people and businesses and industries on moon and then the Mars. And Richard Branson's long game seems to be able to move that into a travel business. And UBS just recently issued a report where they believe that the space travel industry, or the through space traveling industry on a planet on Earth, could be worth $20 billion in 10 years, whereas the space tourism industry would just be worth $3 billion, which is still significant industries.
I'd be interested to see what the travel brochure is like and what the accommodation is like as well. But, you know, on this point, though, you know, you mentioned these 3 major players here. As a consumer, I would be concerned that these 3 major players, they're big, but they're competing against each other. Would it be a case where safety then becomes, you know, it goes on the back burner so that one of them would be able to own that badge of honor of being the first in space?
personally, without having done any safety tests myself, I would suspect that they are safety is paramount. Richard Branson says he'll be first up, so I think you'd like to think that it's safe before he goes up.
Because Virgin Galactic's already lost a pilot in it.
It did, and that was in 2014 through significantly human error, though that seems to have been addressed, and that, of course, has slowed it. So Virgin Galactic is actually a 14-year-old company that hasn't had any customers yet. So it's got some capital to be able to get it to the point, hopefully, where it can start to get some paying customers. But the other thing is it is a business where, of course, the entire thing collapses if you start to get customers dying. So I think that the focus will be on security because obviously all of that value of that capital will evaporate if the customers are not seeing the other side of the journey.
Again, as a customer, as someone who might be planning my holidays at some point, I would want to know what I'm paying for. What would I get in return? Well, I guess the question is, do you just do shuffleboard in space? What else would you do in space?
So for most of these, what is called space tourism at the moment, you're literally 90 minutes in the air, just 3 minutes of weightlessness at the top, and a pretty good view along the way. And, of course, bragging rights around the dinner table later saying that you've been in space.
For 3 minutes?
Yes. Well, 90 minutes in all, but 3 minutes of weightlessness at the peak.
Right. Okay.
This is something that really excites people, though, isn't it? Because it is the next frontier.
Exactly. And, Elon Musk and others believe that humanity's future is beyond Earth. And I think if we're looking at the long term, there's a pretty fair case to make that we, as a species, are likely to be adventurers, as we've been throughout our history, go beyond Earth and explore and populate the solar system and hopefully beyond.
Ross, you're a futurist, and earlier on you talked about colonizing Mars, or colonizing another planet or so. Do you think that is possible, and do you think we actually we as humans have the right to do that, given that we're destroying our own planet?
I think it is innate in humanity to adventure, to seek new frontiers, and so that is part of what will take us there. There's hopefully less to destroy of Mars, and arguably that part of that journey of taking conceivably population beyond Earth will enable us to be able to keep Earth more in its natural beauty and hopefully have the attention that we're not destroying planets beyond ours.
Have you bought your ticket yet?
Not yet.
Ross, thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us.
Real pleasure.
Ross Dawson, futurist there.